Hi guys, this is Nick Marinaro. I'm going to be reviewing my inclement weather unit here. First of all, I'm using Canvas is my LMS. It's what we use at my school. Um, the great thing about this course in particular is it's forced me to actually dig a little bit deeper into what Canvas can do and actually how to really build a quality course with the LMS with various resources and directions and links and just the flow of the unit the way that we've seen using D2L. So if you're not familiar with Canvas, it's actually pretty nice. It's pretty easy to use. Um, I don't like it as much as D2L. I think D2L just has a better look to it. It's easier to follow through, but Canvas is pretty easy. Um, so what you'd do first, you'd actually go down here to modules, and I actually created a course in Canvas for this, and then also called my unit and my module one inclement weather unit. So I actually have this set up as one single unit with several days of instruction to carry with it. Um, the first part, if you look at it, module view, it has a breakdown of everything from from the help section, contact information, tutorials, my overview, my pre-assessment, and then I have it broken down into day one, day two, and has all the resources for day one, day two, day three, which I actually have split up into part one and two. So the first part, like I said, if you go into my overview, then is basically have the instructions written down for the course, and within that overview, you could see it again broken down by days. It gives the instructions at the beginning. I do have a pre-assessment that's set up that students take first, and I actually created a Google form for that. The course itself and the class itself will be asynchronous. There's really no way I can do this in a synchronous setting. One of the things when we did the surveys earlier, one of the questions was that I asked my students if it's feasible if they would want to actually have work on a snow day, and a lot of them voiced concerns about having to watch siblings, or some of them actually work on snow days or have basically used it as a catch up for other work. So I know they'd have to be very flexible. I would have to be very flexible with allowing them to complete this unit, in the time that they have. The unit itself is actually somewhat of a financial literacy type course, and I picked a couple different topics out of that. One of them being credit cards, the other one being interest rates and compounding interest, and the other one's being budget. And I have them broken into day one, day two, and day three. Um, looking at looking at the QM standards for this, if you look at standard one, instructions clear how to get started. I do have the clear instructions within the overview, but then I also have those help sections. I have it set up as a discussion board. And I have the contact and make it clear that they can contact me if they need any kind of help there. Um, it says minimum technical skills expected of the student are clearly stated. Um, I also didn't put anything in here. They're not learning any new tech. I'm using all tech that they're familiar with. Google Docs, Sheets, Edpuzzle, things like that they're familiar with. Maybe not masters at, but at least it's something. I'm not throwing anything new for them to figure out how to navigate, use, create, and then submit. So, and the other part of this, as far as um, it says the instructor provides a self introduction. This is something I'd want to add. I wanted to add a video overview, which I did not do. Within that overview, I wanted to do some sort of introduction to the unit and why we're doing the unit. And I also wanted to add those overviews to each day. I should have a module overview that's a video, and then a video for day one, day two, and day three. That's something I would need to add. Objectives are clearly stated up here, going back to uh, the second standard. As far as the different assessments that I use, on day one, Basically, day one, I have it broken down to a couple parts, and day one focuses on interest rates. So I have the first part of it is they have to read an article from the New York Times about being a teenager and actually abusing credit cards and falling into debt, and basically the ramifications and consequences from those actions. So that kind of brings us, okay, why this is an important issue. And then I actually have them look at a bank and the credit card explanation from that bank. What is a credit card? What is APR? How do grace periods work? All those different types of things. And then they actually have to watch an ed puzzle and complete some of the questions on there. Um, and I set up an ed puzzle account so I can go back and review, um, to see how they performed on those questions. So then what they're going to do actually, um, for the assessment part for this for day one is they are going to open up a generic credit card offer that we all get millions of them in the mail, and then they're going to open up a Google Doc that's already complete with questions asking specifics about that credit card offer. What's the APR? Can they find the annual fee in there? Where are the directions in there? What happens if they miss a payment? If they miss more than one? Read that fine print, and figure out what the consequences are for using that specific card. And then they'll actually upload that into the day one assignment box. Day two is a little bit different. One of the OERs I used, I actually found a site. It's a Feed the Pig site. I used that, and I actually used a way of how a different article is how 8 ways interest rates could affect you. So I went them thinking about, okay, how does this affect my life? How does this affect me going forward? They would actually go into the Feed the Pig site and plug in different credit card amounts with different rates, with different minimum payments, with the percentages for that minimum payment, and see what that looks like as far as if they had to how it's going to affect their monthly payment itself. And why that is important is because in day 3 we go into actually budgeting, and how does that credit card balance affect your monthly budget? And obviously you can see that can greatly impact that. So what they're going to do then for the day 2 activity, I actually incorporated a Google Sheet into this, and they will actually have to use the Feed the Pig website and generate these different amounts with these different rates and minimum payment percentages to figure out when the payoff is going to be for each of those, what the monthly payment is going to be, what the balance payoff is going to be, and what the total payments is going to be. So then at the end, they have to plug in what's the estimated debt payoff for all the cards combined. And then again, with this, they will submit this into the day 2 assignment and send that in. So that would be day 2. And within day 2, I do have specific sites that they go to read about. I have an interest and introduction and compound interest, 2 sites I got from OER Commons that they can take a look at and figure out some of the ins and outs of interest rates. What I wish I would have added to this was actually maybe like a vocab sheet that they would fill out along the way, so that I would highlight what the key terms that they should be looking for are, which I did not do, which is something I would want to add. Day 3, then we go into budgeting, and I have them watch 2 videos on team budgets and how it affects college. So I have links set up for those, and then a make a budget worksheet, which they'll actually go in. It's a live PDF where they can actually go in and plug in specific amounts that they feel are appropriate for their lifestyle, that they'll plug into that budget. If this opens. Almost. And you can see where they plug in the different expenses, what income they could expect to make, and how that affects any kind of disposable income which they might have at the end of a month. So then what I have them do is create actually another Google Sheet again, which I've actually created a template for them, and they have to go in and plug in the expenses that they feel pertain to them that are actually relevant to what they have now. And I put in a generic amount that it would be $2,300 a month would be their net income after taxes are pulled. They're making $3,200 a month, and then they're making basically $2,300 a month net, and see how that affects them. And then a discussion set up basically to this, for them to link credit cards, interest rates, and budgets, and how the three of them work together, and why this unit is important. Um, Again, as far as with the standards themselves, try to provide a various amount of assessments and ways to measure understanding for this. The same thing with instructional materials. I try to use a variety between readings, videos, applications. I had them in Google. Becoming a big Google um, fanatic now, so I'm trying to learn, trying to get certified in some of that. So I want them using these Google tools. I've worked in business before. I know everything is docs, sheets, and going back to Microsoft Word and Excel. I think those skills are very important in a business setting as well. The technology, I made it all familiar technology that we've used before. So there should be a minimal learning curve. They've used docs, sheets, they've used Edpuzzle. They're used to obviously navigating through YouTube and other videos, and some of the manipulative websites that are in there. Although they haven't used the exact ones, they're familiar with um, how to work those. So the one area, the accessibility, I don't have any accessibility for visual or hearing impaired learners. Like I said, I should add more videos of this. That was the one thing that I would like to use going forward before I ever use this. My plan for this unit is actually to use it as, for now, my emergency sub plans, which is going to be going forward. I have kids. I never know when somebody's going to get sick, so to have that in my back pocket is going to work great. Um, so once I actually had, as far as the student reactions, I had several of my own students run through this, and then I had a couple of teachers in our school run through this as well. The nice thing about that is the fact that it actually let me see some of the links that were not working. It let me see, from the student side, when they logged in, some of the things that they weren't able to have access to. I was able to have access to every single assignment and discussion. The student was not, because I did not set dates for those. So I know now they're not going to be able to see or get anything if I have the wrong dates, or if the dates are expired or anything like that. So that's something I know going forward. They'll have to make sure that it's updated and it's clear that they can get in and take a look at. I'll probably even keep this generic account, the ACT 632 student, in here so I can work through it and actually go through and go into student mode, basically, to walk through and try and navigate the course on my own. What worked particularly well, I thought, was the flow of the unit, but also the fact that I thought it was easy for them to understand what was expected, what the assignments were, and how to submit them and how to deliver them. Polish, like I said, I'd like to add a few more videos. I think I need some more instructions as far as how to get started or exactly where to get started. When I had students walking through this, um, they're so used to using Canvas just for assignments and announcements, that just to make sure that they know to go to modules. And then once they go to modules, I should have a content page that says getting started, so that will actually lead them into the right flow of what's going on here. Um, what made me ponder about this is the fact that, where do I go from here? I guess after I do this unit, I don't want to end the topic. So how can I expand on this going forward? How can I add to it? What other units can I create? Can I create what I'd like to do is create a library of financial literacy units that, as time goes on, whether it's for this class or other classes that I'm teaching, that I can introduce from time to time. The nice thing about this, like I said, it helped me actually use more of the LMS than what I've ever used before. So that was a good experience. And that's about it.